Welcome back. You're still watching The Globe. Now, the Membership Puzzle Project, an international organisation with members from over 37 countries, has produced a report on how newsrooms are using membership to increase revenue to keep themselves sustainable. The Maverick Insider, a membership project for the Daily Maverick, was ranked 15th on the list. Membership funding goes a long way in keeping the media independent in their reporting of news. To talk to us about the state of media financing in South Africa and how this compares to other countries and the impact this has on the nation accessing quality reporting, we're now joined by the CEO of Daily Maverick, Styli Charalambous. Styli, thanks very much indeed for joining us and welcome to the programme.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for having me.
All right, I want to let you know that I am a member of Daily Maverick, and I just want to know, what does membership mean? For me, I thought it was just about getting content.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for being one of the 17,000 members who've chosen to support us financially. It goes beyond just the financial support. It's a membership program. It's community building. It's a way for people who are our most loyal and engaged readers who want to get involved with how the news is created. We solicit feedback, suggestions, advice, help. Whenever it may be, it may come in the shape form of a survey or participation in our events or direction with a particular editorial project. These are all ways where we take the community building aspect of our relationship with news, and we go a bit further than just offering a passive consumption of the news as it's been done in the past. So this membership concept is something new. It's something that has really only come to the fore in the last 5 or so years. And, we're excited and very grateful to be, one of the successful implementers of membership in news around the world.
How are people looking at it? There was a time where people just didn't understand paying for content in any form or the other. They'd buy a newspaper because it was physical, you pick it up and they thought you were buying the paper, not what was on the paper itself. Who is doing this membership? Is it people that are older like me, or are young people also tuning into this membership?
Yeah, so in the South African context, there was a lot of skepticism about whether this could work, whether people would be willing to, in the digital news environment, where everything and so much is available for free, whether people would be willing to support financially news publications who needed that support as the digital business model wasn't really able to transfer from print. And so we started off with our most loyal and engaged readers, and we put a value proposition in front of them, which was simply this: help us keep our high quality, high impact, investigative, independent journalism, help keep it free for those who can't afford to pay. And so that mission obviously resonated with certain people, or 17,000 of them to be exact. And that has helped keep our journalism available to so many people in this country who aren't able to support us financially, but who still need access to high quality journalism. So it's about understanding who those people are, where to find them, what sort of message to put in front of them, what sort of ask to put in front of them, and also to ask often and in different ways. But, we're finding that people who want to join this cause that we're on to produce this kind of journalism for the country have been quite willing to come with us on this journey.
It's interesting, and I do think that part of this story might be the old adage of having a good brand. People will pay for the Financial Times, they'll pay for the Washington Post, and would I be correct in saying that perhaps the Daily Maverick has built up a brand value over time, that when you got to the point where you thought about putting this proposition, people were prepared because they had a perceived value of your brand?
Absolutely. There's a saying in the industry that you can't put a paywall on a pig. And, that concept extends to exactly what you're saying, is that people aren't going to be willing to support financially or otherwise brands that they don't trust, brands that they don't respect and brands that don't have credibility and that aren't doing the kind of journalism that is worth supporting on multiple fronts. So doing that consistently over, I think we were eight or so years old before we put this offer in front of people. And I think that consistency over that period of time certainly proved our credibility with those readers.
All right, so, I mean, you're up there in the world in terms of doing this, and in many ways you've been pioneers quite a bit, and recently you've gone back to print, I saw. Are these calculated guesses or hopes?
Yeah, I mean, we've been, I think we've called ourselves madder than a bag of snakes when we launched a print edition in the middle of COVID. But as with all new ventures, they start with a hunch, an instinct based on our experience, based on our understanding of our readers and our audiences and the market and what we think will work, what we think will resonate. And then we do a lot of research. We do a lot of testing. We test concepts out. When we get a bit of traction from those tests, we then see whether we need to tweak them further or whether we can go and push a lot of resource and effort behind making those things happen. And sometimes they take off and sometimes they don't. But, 13 years later, we're still in this really tough game, this really tough space in an industry that has been massively disrupted in a country that has experienced such trauma over the last decade or so. So I think we've gotten more things right than we've gotten wrong, but even those things that we did get wrong, we still learned so much from those things. So, we don't consider those a failure as long as we're still around to keep trying, keep experimenting, innovating and producing a high quality public service.
COVID-19 was a major disruptor and a lot of publications sadly disappeared. And it could be that they were on their way actually to disappearing, but COVID-19 was just accelerate the process and make us think a little bit more about the future and what lies ahead. I just wonder, when I watch television, once upon a time we had 4 channels. If we were lucky, we had the 4th one. And everybody was a general television watcher. But now with hundreds of channels, I probably only watch 4 or 5. And I wonder if that's going to be the same with newspapers and media, where you'll start to niche much, much more and just focus on a particular audience rather than trying to be of general appeal.
Yeah, there's another saying in the industry that there's riches in the niches, and that seems to be the way where traditional legacy operations are going to need to go in order to go deep and to get really to offer great experience, great insights, and to go really deep on those topics and to differentiate themselves based on that. On that deep penetration in those verticals. So that's probably true of print, probably where some television channels are going to have to go. And it's all about how do we differentiate ourselves? How do we create value in the eyes of our audiences? What can we do that stands apart? What can we do that's worth supporting?
Styli, thanks very much indeed for joining us, and well done for continuing to blaze quite a trail as a paper, and thank you for talking to us tonight.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great. All right, that's the CEO of the Daily Maverick, Styli Charalambous, talking to us about an interesting concept called membership funding for newspapers. Not all people are able to win at this game, but certainly giving us some insights on those that are winning, why they're doing so.